Well, what do we got going on today? 4020 top shaft, 7320 head job. Let's look at that top shaft. So the complaint of the top shaft was your 3, 5, 7, and 8 gears. You could shift into it and then it would grind and you wouldn't move. So we tore it apart. There's not one single smoking gun. It's just more of a we got our money's worth out of everything kind of deal. So the synchro, I was gonna say clutch plates, the little synchro plates are wore thin. So that means you got to put more pressure on the lever to get the synchro to lock up and match the gear to collar speed. But then their shifters are broke. Both of their shifters are broke in the corners. So we got some really nice used ones. But if I put these drums in here, we can also see how sloppy it is. You know, you look at that gap here, how sloppy it is. And if we come into this really nice one, I mean, that's brand new. That is brand new. So you're putting more pressure on the little shift lever trying to get to match speed, but now you also got all this slop. And then what happens? Every once in a while, when you get a grind to go into gear, you can see how them teeth are kind of flat right here. They're kind of flat. They're supposed to look like that. They're supposed to be pointed. So when you grind that 16th off there and you do the same grind on your hub, you've now reduced almost an 1/8 inch of material. So there's enough there to engage, but it can't quite handle the load because there's enough slop in here that it's allowed to push off, and then you get that grind, and then it grinds it out more, and then it just spirals downhill super fast. So we got a couple good, we got one used hub, we got some used shift collars, and then we had to get a bunch of other new parts, obviously new plates. We couldn't get used collars, so we had to get new collars. And so that's that's another used one. But yeah, so that's that. So then when parts come in for this, I'll show you we'll put this top shaft together and I'll show you our super special tool for getting, there's 4 springs and balls. These little tiny balls go at the end of each spring, and then you have to get that into here, back onto here while holding them 4 balls. Super simple trick, super simple. You guys will laugh at how easy that we've made that. So they'll get a new rear bearing. Otherwise the gears and everything look fantastic. Everything else in the rear end, I steam cleaned, high pressure hot water, steam cleaned this transmission case out. PTO seals were leaking, so I even blasted in to really flush this transmission out. Everything looks super good. So yeah. Yep. All right. 7320 head. Newer tractors get a little intimidating because they get super busy looking. But if we just take a minute and pause, we've got our normal manifolds on the other side. We got this exhaust cooler. Why did I say exhaust? I did not mean to say exhaust. We got our exhaust system. We got our intercooler coming off our turbo, coming into our intake. But on this one, if we look, our alternator, air compressor, and all this stuff on this side, we might not even have to touch. Yeah, you got a sensor here. You got your intake heater cord here, this turbo line. and this water hose and this water hose. But if we come to this side, by the time we get our exhaust off, a shield off, some of our plumbing, our fuel lines, this side's the busy side. Well, this stuff will come off fairly quick, quote unquote. But yeah, this is the side that's going to make us room, and then hopefully we can leave this bracketry on and just sneak that head out this side. I will keep you posted as to how well that actually worked. So just getting that muffler out of here. There's just a band here, an exhaust band there, an exhaust band here. You know, this one I had to cut the bolts. But just by getting that out, it sure already opens it up quite a bit. Well, there's the exhaust manifold off. There's nothing to show you. We're just taking bolts out. That's all we're doing. So let's get this hose off. Our pressure pipe for the turbo fitting on the other side. Let's get that off. On this return side, you can take these little caps off. You take these little caps off, and this whole thing comes off as an assembly. And that kind of saves a lot of time of screwing and unscrewing all these fittings. Well, there you go. Ain't a whole lot to show you. You popped out a dozen bolts and a couple miscellaneous bolts for your fuel filters, and the exhaust manifold's off. Let's get this turbo pipe out of the way. Let's get this turbo pipe out of the way, and then we'll start going after injectors and lines. Looks like we got the thermostat housing on our head on this side to get taken off of here as well. Our first special tool moment. A little flared wrench, crow's foot like this. And you can slip it on because we got a fitting back here and a fitting way down in there between them two. That one right there. So actually, we've got two options. In some circumstances, these double offsets can work. In this circumstance, I'm much better off with the crow's foot. We're making a lot of room real fast. You get rid of them injection lines. The return line hooks to the hose, hooks to here, and then comes down here, and then also hooks to this hose. Yep, so then we'll pop these injectors out, and then let's go after this thermostat housing and see what kind of adventure that brings us. Injectors popped right out. There was nothing there to show you. Thermostat housing popped right off. It's O-ringed onto this pipe, so you just wiggle it. Valve cover. I wanted to take the valve cover off because if there was interference through this framework, then we would just have to take this framework off, hang the air compressor. Don't open up any of the lines. I would have just hung the air compressor with some baler wire coming from the front grill up over the top and held that compressor there, and then just took this bracket out. But we had room for the valve cover, got the rocker arm off. I think I'm ready to start cracking head bolts. And other than I might have something on the other side, I think we're getting close to lifting this thing off to see what we see. Boom, there we go. Fresh off the block in the galaxy. So everything looks fantastic, but we'll talk them into an overhaul. I'm just kidding. We'll get this gasket off of here, and then we'll pop test the injectors just to make sure they're in good standing. And I'll call the customer and tell him he can come pick it up and run it up to the machine shop.